Boxing and mobile games are like bread and butter, and just hear me out. They are both simple, but they go together so well, yet most people rather make a ham or egg sandwich because they taste better. Wait, where am I going with this? Alright, PrizeFighters. Just like the weird start to the video, PrizeFighters is a mobile boxing game series that's really underrated. With its pixelated graphics, simple yet satisfying controls, it was one of the best mobile boxing games for its time. Then again, there weren't many options. And its sequel, PrizeFighters 2, took it up a notch and improved on the original in many ways, while still keeping its charm. I've already covered 2 boxing mobile games on this channel. One was a forgotten classic, and the other is its more expensive spiritual successor. But what makes PrizeFighters so different is instead of a company or a small indie studio creating a boxing game for profit, PrizeFighters was made by one passionate person, someone who was inspired by real-life boxing and a certain NES game that he decided to make his own. And in this video, I'll show you why, just like the bread and toast analogy, why PrizeFighters is a severely underrated game. Not to be confused with PrizeFighter on the Sega CD, which is a much more trippy game. PrizeFighters was created by Quality Games, an indie studio that specializes in pixelated games, with PrizeFighters being their very first. According to a Reddit post I found, the person behind Quality Games was a huge fan of boxing in general, especially video games like the original NES Punch-Out! Quality noticed the apparent lack of variety of boxing games on the mobile market, because they were just cheap games with realistic graphics, or heavily monetized to the point it's pay to play. For example, one of the only good ones at the time, at least in my opinion, was Punch Hero, an amazing boxing game created by the now defunct Cocosoft. As in that game, it was super creative with its graphics and characters, along with adding a bunch of cool moves that made it look and feel like Punch-Out! On the Wii, which came out in 2009. But despite its upsides, it also had ads, and worst of all, a bunch of stuff like moves and cosmetics were locked behind paywalls. Regardless, it was a really great game, so Quality wanted to throw their hat in the ring, metaphorically speaking. So in 2017, they made their debut with PrizeFighters. PrizeFighters strongly resembles Nintendo's Punch-Out! On the NES, if I haven't mentioned the similarities enough already. Since the game doesn't have the benefits of button controls, you'll have to settle with tapping the screen, which actually works quite well. If you played other boxing games before, you already know how the controls work, except in PrizeFighters, it's a bit unique. You can still jab by tapping left or right, but depending on how high or how low you tap dictates where you aim at an opponent. As a result, swiping the screen left or right is how you dodge attacks, and swiping down lets you block, all of which is vastly different to how other games just give you the buttons on the side. After getting to a regular CPU and a small tutorial to help you get used to the controls, you'll start off at rank 30 in the leaderboards, meaning there's a total of 29 other fighters to get through if you want to claim the title of champion. Each fight you win, you earn some XP and some coins, which you could then spend on customizing your boxer. And since Quality knew about bad monetization, they tried not to make it too monetized, only adding a few ads and making everything unlockable as long as you play. As for XP, you can use those to level up your stats. The best part is you can even choose your base stats. Another way of looking at it is you get to choose what kind of boxer you'll be, either the strong punchy type, the speedy dodgy type, or the well-rounded balanced type, and etc. There's also a mechanic that I don't see other mobile games use, which is the chance to get cut during a fight, causing your blue bar to decrease, which in turn increases your chance of getting knocked out due to blood loss. PrizeFighters also has a version of Little Mac's KO punch called the Power Punch. To activate it, you'll have to build up momentum, which is also their version of the power meter. But once full and done at the right time, it can do a ton of damage or straight up knock out an opponent. Together, all of these features make the game a fun experience at first, but after being the top person, there's not really anything else left to do. It can actually get kind of repetitive since the game doesn't introduce any more new moves or unique characters. In the original and Wii version of Punch-Out!, the characters were more cartoony and carried a bunch of gimmicks. This helped make them feel alive and full of personality, and it was fun to learn their movesets and what wacky tricks they had up their sleeves. But PrizeFighters leans more into the realism, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it also doesn't mean it's perfect. For example, there are more fighters in PrizeFighters than in Punch-Out!, but the design is something you can easily make yourself. Compared to the fewer fighters Punch-Out had, it was easy to choose Punch-Out's cast as they were more dynamic despite having less. However, there was one feature that really shined the most, which was the multiplayer. Even though it was already a good offline single player game, having the option of online or local multiplayer made it even better. Quality themselves even advertised the features by fighting against their own fans, which I think was really neat. Overall, as a first game for Quality, it was pretty good, but it still felt like it was lacking a few things to make it truly amazing. So Quality used it as the foundation for something even greater, and by 2020 that would be the case when PrizeFighters 2 released. PrizeFighters 2 looked better, played faster, and this time actually had music. The main core features are still there, but they added a new mechanic to approach or lean away from an opponent. There's now 2 buttons on the left that let you back up or move forward, which can open up a lot of possibilities. If you're winning, you can go on the offensive, or if you're in trouble, you can always back up and regain your footing. The game's art style is also a massive improvement, trying to lean more into its own style rather than look similar to Punch-Out, which I can appreciate. There's also 3 modes instead of 1. The career system got a complete overhaul. Now there are in-game days which you can use to level up certain aspects of your character. Basically like a simulator where you pick what you do, and depending on what you choose to do can help determine the conditions for the next match. There's also a calendar to use, and every fight is announced each day, so you can always plan ahead. Basically, Quality tried to make it even more realistic, which is a nice touch, and better than just knocking out one guy and then moving on to the next. Next is Quick Battle, which is a new mode that's basically just free play, which is perfect for an offline game, so you don't have to replay career mode when you're in the mood to just fight something. And if you really want to, you can even spectate CPUs in spectate mode. Again, not a game-changing feature, but something nice to have. I mean, one use I can think of is now you can bet on which fighter will win with your friends or something.
Let's go gambling!
But there's still something it suffers from, which is the same from the first game, which is the variety. There's nothing else really different. There's no new moves or anything flashy. It's not trying to go that route, which is understandable, but they could have added something new. They didn't have to mimic Punch-Out and make the characters cartoony, but I would like for at least the top 5 boxers to be unique in the story to show how they became the best of the best, rather than random guy number 25. Maybe sprinkle in some lore and world building, and a story mode would be perfect for a game like this. Punch Hero had this same problem, so when Boxing Star, basically the game revived since it's from the same developers, Boxing Star had a full-blown story mode, and it was quite a good one too, an underdog story filled with some twists and turns, and it helped make the game feel more alive and fun, which is something PrizeFighters could have used. In the end, PrizeFighters was a great series, so much so that Quality actually managed to make a new series, this time about basketball. As for PrizeFighters itself, I'm not sure if there'll be a third game, but PrizeFighters 2 is getting ported to Steam, which is nice. And while it might not be the best out there, it's not trying to be. From the beginning, Quality wanted to make their own boxing game, and they achieved just that. It was a great game in its own right, with simple but fun gameplay that'll make people want to replay it. And it had graphics that won't get outdated, which some other realistic games suffer from. And overall, it's a good example of what a person can do when they have enough passion for their game. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this short look into PrizeFighters. I'll be honest, I never played the game, and I only did it because it was the 3rd vote in a different poll, but after learning more about the game, it showed me how much effort was put into making it truly unique. And it's still on the App Store, so if you're looking for a good boxing mobile game to play, I highly recommend PrizeFighters. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe so that I can get noticed by the YouTube algorithm. And if you really want to support the channel, please consider becoming a member. Speaking of which, a big special thanks to Hades Belt for being our newest cat aficionado. I really appreciate the support, thank you. For the next video, I'll be doing something Minecraft related, which in retrospect I should have done, especially with what movie came out. So the next one will either be about blockheads or survival craft, as those two were my favorites as a kid, and you'd be surprised what happened to each one. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.